So Multiversus has finally released from beta and the game is out, and already there have been a lot of, I don't want to say controversy, but there's been a lot of people complaining online about this game. And people are just making a lot of comparisons to, oh, hey, the beta was better because the full release of Multiverses is basically just a downgrade and it's not what we wanted. Personally, I have played this game when the beta was out, and I have played a little bit of this game when the full release came out too, even. So I can kind of understand why people are frustrated with this game. And a lot of people have been just pointing out like there are some missing features in the game that were in beta as my phone goes off. Jesus Christ, my phone has been going off a lot lately. But there was a lot of people pointing out stuff that was in the beta that should have been in the game at launch. And this game just basically feels rushed and unfinished. And also, there's been even more complaining about how tedious the grinding is in this game and how long it takes to unlock a character. I think I saw somewhere online where someone said it took, like, I think 33 to 70 hours just to unlock, like, one specific character, which that is just absolutely insane. I don't think people are gonna have the patience to do that kind of grinding. This isn't some kind of Ubisoft open world game where people are just grinding for absurd stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I want to grind out currency for like 33 to 70 hours just to get one character? I think I would rather spend that kind of time just playing Helldivers 2. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I want to move on to the next thing that people are upset about, and this is a big one. The fact that there is basically no training mode in this game. Now, the number one thing when it comes to fighting games, at least in my opinion, is a training mode. So that way you can practice with like certain characters and everything. So if you want to get better with, let's say, Finn, or if you want to get better as like Shaggy, or if you want to get better with Batman, for example, or let's say Bugs Bunny, even. You could go to training mode to do that. But unfortunately, Multiverses does not have that basic mode, if not feature, because if you ask me personally, the number one thing that all fighting games need to have, regardless, is you need a training mode that has all the characters unlocked so that way you can get an idea of how the game is going to feel and how the game is supposed to go and how each fighter is different from each other. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, Multiverses lacks that. So that's going to be a massive dent in this game's reputation already. Another criticism that some people seem to have with this game is the fact that you basically start off with one character and then there are like a couple other characters that are also available, but they're like a limited time thing. So if that timer expires for those certain characters, then you won't be able to play as those characters and you have to wait for them to come back in the next rotation, which is kind of freaking stupid if you ask me. Because realistically, you're just stuck with one fighter in this game until you get the currency to unlock that certain fighter you really want. Now, the only comparison I can make here for this kind of thing was Smite. When Smite does this, they put like one god from like every category in their game available for like the entire week. But for some reason, Multiverses try to do something similar to that, and it's just not really building too well for them. And if you ask me, it just doesn't really make any sense because why in the world would you put fighters on a limited timer in this kind of game? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. When it comes to fighting games, you need to make sure that all available characters are available to play day one. It doesn't matter what game franchise it is. Now, look, don't get me wrong, I'm all for unlocking fighters and everything. I mean, Dragon Ball Fighters and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, for example, you can definitely unlock some new fighters. But I think Smash Brothers does this far better than pretty much any other game because you can unlock fighters in Super Smash Brothers by either playing the standard versus mode, by playing the classic mode, or by playing the adventure mode. There were at least a few options for people to unlock fighters. So if you don't want to play adventure mode or like the classic mode, you can just do the standard fighting mode. And guess what? Smash Bros. Ultimate, they also have a dedicated training mode as well. Even Dragon Ball Fighters even. The next problem I want to talk about, and this one is just a personal criticism of mine, is that the movement feels a bit clunky and the combat just feels a bit delayed. I could be playing as a random fighter and I could be attacking over and over and I would have to wait like half a second, if not like a full second and a half, just for my one move to actually go through. And I feel like I have to push some buttons in advance that way so I can actually get something going. Like the combat feels delayed at times because I would have to be pressing a few attack buttons in advance before the game fully registers like that whole combo set and everything. And it just doesn't feel proper to me and everything. Like it just feels like it's off and it just doesn't really make me feel comfortable. Now, look, despite all the game's negative criticisms and everything that it has been going through, the one and only good positive I can say about this game is the fact that it has crossplay. So I'm able to play with some of my friends on like Xbox or PC that way. So we can all play games together, which I think is pretty cool. Besides from crossplay, the other only positive I can say is the fact that having these characters from these different universes, like Finn and Jake from Adventure Time from like Cartoon Network, and having characters like Tom and Jerry from like Warner Brothers, and having characters like Harley Quinn and like Batman from like DC coming together in this one universe to fight, I think that's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? I think that's an awesome concept on paper, but the way that they just executed this game, it just feels like it's just off to a rough start. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say the game's unplayable, because the game is definitely playable. There's just definitely some issues that this game definitely has to work out. And if you want to know my honest opinion, this game is off to a rough start that should not have happened. Like, the developers of this game needed more time, and they should have delayed the game. And if they want to make this game like a competitor for like Smash Bros and like Brawlhalla and like Dragon Ball Fighters, then they got a lot of work to do. So, with this being said, thank you everyone for watching and for listening. And until next time, I'm talking about Multiverses and some of the problems it has. And I'll see you all later.